This Planning Commission meeting, February 5th, 2025. And at this time, we're going to start this meeting with our usual roll call.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Vice Chair Shively,
Present.
Chair Hammond.
Here. And at this
Thank
time,
you.
would you stand and Pledge of Allegiance will be made by Commissioner Jimenez. Thank you very much. We move to item 4, presentation. And we have the introduction and swearing in of new planning commissioner, Jillian Menez. So if you guys would just, whatever the process you want to do. And our assistant city clerk, Miss Judy Honey, will conduct that. So if you want pictures afterwards or anything like, you're welcome to come forward after she's sworn in, okay?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. When I say state your name, please state your name. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well, and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anyone, if you wanted to take pictures at all, now's the time if you want to, if not. Mhm. Thank you, Judy. Hey. No. Thank you very much. And Ms. Menez, you can come up to the dais. What do you call it? Dais, platform, podium, whatever. Yeah. Okay, welcome. We're going to take maybe a brief recess for our people in the back or who have just helped her go through the process of pushing buttons. So really brief, not more than 10 minutes, maybe 5 to 10, because to get set up. So we know what we're doing, but you know, Okay. Thank you very much, and congratulations. And this is still part of the presentation. If there's anything that you'd like to say first, or this is your time.
I just want to say thank you for putting your faith in me. I've met over the past multiple days over these past couple weeks. I've met multiple times with city staff, and I can really feel how tangibly feel how passionate city staff is, how intelligent everybody is, and I'm really, really excited to work with everybody. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Good. Welcome aboard. At this time, we're going to move an item 7, the business item, to this point. So just a matter of record. We're going to have the Brown Act procedures presented by Benjamin R. Jones, our Assistant City Attorney. You don't need a vote because I decided.
Correct. Okay. Good evening, members of the commission. I'm Ben Jones, and welcome, Commissioner Menez. It's great to have you. And I'm here. I'm Ben Jones. I'm the Assistant City Attorney, and I'm here to give a training presentation for tonight for your benefit and for a refresher for all the commissioners. And I'm not going to take a lot of time, 15 minutes, and talk about the Brown Act and conflicts of interest. Please note this is not AB 1234 training. AB 1234 training is required by state law for all planning commissioners and city council members to be conducted for 2 hours every 2 years. This presentation covers some of the AB 1234 topics, but not all. It's going to be a lot more brief. This presentation is more focused on ensuring the Planning Commission is able to function properly as a decision-making body, as we have a decision ahead of us tonight. For new members, Commissioner Menez, please contact the City Clerk's office regarding satisfying AB 1234 training requirements, which can be done via online courses. Oh, yeah. So the Brown Act is an open meeting law or sunshine law. It's all about transparency in government. And the basic idea is that all meetings of state and local legislative bodies and advisory bodies must be open and public, which this includes meetings of the Planning Commission. The purpose is to facilitate public participation and prevent secret decisions by legislative bodies. Under the Brown Act, the key definition is the definition of the word meeting. A meeting is defined as a congregation of a majority of the members of the commission at the same time and location, including a teleconference location, to hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on any item that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. So there's no need for the commission to take action for a gathering of their majority to be a meeting, because it's to hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on. The word meeting or the definition of meeting can also include serial meetings, which there are various types of serial meetings, chain, hub and spoke, and intermediary. And I think I don't think I have another slide on that. So basically the idea is one commissioner talks to another, then that commissioner talks to the next, then that commissioner talks to the next, and it results in a serial meeting, whether that's done verbally or via the telephone, text message, social media, whatever. Attendance of a majority of the commissioners at a social gathering, conference, or other public meeting is permitted if commission business is not discussed. Social media. A majority of the commissioners shall not use a social media platform to discuss amongst themselves business of a specific nature that is within the commission's jurisdiction. Discuss amongst themselves is defined to include comments or use of other digital icons that express a reaction to a communication, such as likes, emojis, etc. Also, a commissioner shall not respond directly to any communication on social media regarding a matter within the commission's jurisdiction that is made, posted, or shared by any other member of the commission. So this is actually an exception to the meeting rule, or the serial meeting rule, which is that if one commissioner posts something on social media, for example, on their social media page about something that's within the jurisdiction of the commission, and another commissioner responds to that post, that right there is prohibited by the Brown Act, even though it's not a majority of the commissioners. So the fundamentals of the Brown Act with respect to agendas, because meetings have to be open and public, they also have to have a published written agenda, and the commission has to follow the items of business that are listed on the agenda. The agenda must be posted 72 hours before a regular meeting. There is also such a thing as a special meeting, and in that case, 24 hours before. The agenda must contain a general description of each matter to be transacted or discussed, and the agenda must provide an opportunity for public comment, and the commission must not make any discussion or take any action on any matter not on the agenda, except that the commission may briefly respond to statements or questions from the public, ask questions for clarification, make a brief announcement, or make a brief report on a commissioner's own activities. Provide a reference to staff or other resources for factual info. Request staff to report on any matter at a later meeting, or direct staff to place a matter on a future agenda. The remedies for a Brown Act violation: any interested person, member of the public, may demand that the commission declare an action taken in violation of the Brown Act to be void, and demand that the city cure the defect within 30 or 90 days of the violation, depending on various circumstances. And then the person may sue to invalidate the action if the violation is not cured within that time frame. The city may be required to pay attorney's fees to a person who prevails in court on that type of a case. And criminal liability is possible for members attending a public meeting with intent to deprive the public of information. That is very rare. If that's ever happened, I'm not aware of it, but it is possible. So the next topic I wanted to cover is what's known as common law bias, which is a type of conflict of interest, basically. It also has to do with fair decision-making and complying with due process. So what this says is that decision-makers must avoid a strong bias toward parties or projects. And when thinking about this rule, it's important to think about which hat is the commission wearing when it takes a given action. So the commission takes two main types of actions: legislative and quasi-judicial. If you're adopting an ordinance, updating the zoning code, general plan, those types of things are legislative actions, and common law bias does not apply to that. Common law bias applies to quasi-judicial actions, which is when you're considering whether to issue permits, entitlements, whether it's conditional use permit, variance, design review, a development plan review, or a development agreement, for example, although that is arguably a legislative action, but also quasi-judicial. But whenever you're issuing permits, basically, for a project. Due process requires a reasonably impartial, non-involved reviewer. It prohibits public officials from placing themselves in a position where their private, personal interests may conflict with their official duties. And a finding by a court of unacceptable probability of actual bias will result in a decision of the commission being vacated, or of the city council. There are three types of bias that can result in this outcome. One is a personal interest in the decision's outcome. One is a personal bias, and another is a factual bias. So I'll give you a couple examples. One is there was a case where a commissioner or a city council member, their from their residence, their view was obstructed based on a project that was built that obstructed their view. And that commissioner or council member was deemed to have a common law bias because they had a personal interest in the decision's outcome. It affected their view and their personal interest in their property. That was one type of bias that was deemed to be disqualifying. Another is personal bias. We have an example, and this is not necessarily personal bias, but I think it is. Yeah, it is personal bias. A case, Nasha v. City of Los Angeles. The Court of Appeal directed the Los Angeles Planning Commission to conduct a new hearing based on the fact that a commissioner had anonymously authored a critical article in a neighborhood newsletter concerning the developer's project. The commissioner had then participated in an appeal of the project approval to the Planning Commission that resulted in the staff's conditional approval of the project being overturned. So the lesson there is that if a commissioner has gone public with a statement, whether that's in a newsletter, social media post, anything that states, that they're for or against a certain project, and then that project comes before the commission, that commissioner should not participate because they've already put themselves out there that they're not an impartial, neutral decision maker. And due process, the rights of the applicant demand a neutral, impartial decision maker. And so therefore, that was a case where that commissioner should have recused themselves or been disqualified from the decision. Because they did not, the decision was invalid and had to be reheard. They had to redecide without that person. And then we have factual bias, which is this next slide, ex parte contacts. So contacts with developers and citizens outside of public meetings can give rise to factual bias and the appearance of impropriety. Site inspections are generally discouraged for this reason, but they are allowed. But visiting a site should be disclosed prior to the hearing. If you do visit a site, let the other commissioners know, let the commission know during the public hearing so everybody has equal information. The idea of factual bias is we don't want one commissioner to have additional information that other commissioners don't have the benefit of, and so that one commissioner is making their decision based on something that the others aren't aware of, and they don't have equal information. The public hearing should provide all the information that all the commissioners are considering. So avoiding initiating contact with a developer or citizen is good practices. If contacted, it's best for the commissioner to be polite and avoid stating your viewpoint. Recommend that the person submit their comments in writing or state them at the hearing so that they can be considered by all. Again, that's so equal information available to everyone. At the hearing, prior to the staff presentation, disclose any information received that is relevant to the hearing. So along the same lines, duties and decision-making. Due process requires a fair hearing. So a commissioner should not express their opinion before the hearing. The hearing is for the purpose of taking testimony. So during the hearing, commissioners should not express their opinion. Deliberation and decision-making occurs after the public hearing. So it's only once the public hearing has closed that the commissioners then make their viewpoint known and they can attempt to convince the other commissioners or persuade the other commissioners of a certain view and say, I feel this way. I think you should feel the same because of this reason, and then you can deliberate and make your decision. But prior to closing the public hearing, you shouldn't make statements of I for or against, and during the public hearing, it's not for discussion between the commissioners, it's for gathering information from staff and from the applicant and from the public. So again, follow proper hearing procedure for those same reasons. The procedure is basically as follows. The commission will hear the staff report and ask questions of staff. Then the chair will open the public hearing. The commission will take public comment from the applicant or those in favor, and then from the opposition or those opposed, and then, if necessary, a rebuttal period. And then the commission will close the hearing and then deliberation and discussion, and then the decision. And the commission should base its decision on whether the required factual findings can be made from the evidence presented. So for pretty much any permit that you'll be considering, any quasi-judicial action, there will be required findings that are stated in the code as these are the required findings that must be made in the affirmative in order for the approval to be given. So you look at, okay, we have a conditional use permit in front of us. What are the required findings that need to be made? And then you have to make those findings in writing via resolution in order to make the decision. And then those written findings that you make, if you do make those findings, need to be supported by substantial evidence in the record. So the substantial evidence in the record can come from the staff report, the CEQA documents, the public comments received during the hearing, et cetera. So that's the substantial evidence test, is that substantial evidence needs to support the findings need to support the decision. That covers the common law bias doctrine. So now we have a different type of conflict of interest, which is the Political Reform Act of 1974, or the PRA. This is a California state statute, and it's administered and enforced by the FPPC, the Fair Political Practices Commission. The purpose is to protect public trust, fairness in decision-making, and prevent governmental decision-making motivated by personal financial gain. So if there's a main distinction to think about between common law bias and PRA conflicts of interest, it's that common law bias is non-financial and PRA conflicts of interest are financial conflicts of interest. The basic rule is that no public official shall make, participate in making, or in any way attempt to use their official position to influence a governmental decision in which he or she knows or has a reason to know that he or she has a financial interest. There's a 4-step test that the FPP uses for determining whether this basic rule has been violated. And I'm not going to get into the details of the 4-step test because it takes a while. It's kind of nuanced, complicated, but I'm happy to discuss with any of you offline. I'll give you the slides. You'll be able to keep these, and then call me or email me if you have any questions. We can go over it, but I'm not going to cover it tonight, other than to let you know that one of the portions of the test, step 2, whether the reasonably foreseeable financial effect of a decision on a commissioner's financial interest is material, boils down to this 500-foot rule, if you will. So this has to do with if you own real property in the city, and what's the proximity of the property that's the subject of a commission decision to your property. So if the subject property, that's the subject of the development permits, is within 500 feet of property that you own, real property that you own, it's presumed that the financial effect is material. So generally, the commissioner must recuse themselves. If the property is located 500 to 1,000 feet away, there are a variety of factors that are considered. The commissioner must not participate in the decision if it would change the commissioner's properties, development potential, income producing potential, highest and best use, character by substantially altering traffic levels, intensity of use, parking view, privacy, noise levels, or air quality, or its market value. If it's more than 1,000 feet, the decision is presumed to be immaterial on the commissioner's financial effects. So generally, no recusal required. So the conflicts of interest under the PRA are prevented in 2 ways: disclosure and disqualification. Disclosure is accomplished through filing your Form 700, which is a required form that you have to file with the FPPC. It's a statement of economic interests. Commissioners are required to file it annually and within 30 days of taking or leaving office. Even when you leave office, there's an exit form you have to fill out, and they are public records. They're kept on file with FPPC and they're available to the public. And it involves disclosing your certain pretty much all of your financial interests on the form so that you can keep track and the public can keep track of what your financial interests are and when those may be implicated by a decision that's coming before the commission. The second way that conflicts are prevented is disqualification, which is also known as recusal. And that the rule there is that not voting is not enough to disqualify yourself or recuse yourself. The rule is that the commissioner may not make, participate in, or influence the decision. So in that scenario, the commissioner would not only not vote, they wouldn't participate in the discussion, they wouldn't be on the dais, they wouldn't talk to the other commissioners about it before the meeting, anything like that. They would publicly, when the item is called on the agenda, they would publicly identify the financial interest or potential conflict of interest that they have on the record, and then they would leave the room physically until after the discussion, vote, or any other disposition of that item, and then they would return for the next item. Violations of the PRA can be punished or remedied by administrative proceedings or civil actions for fines or penalties, which can be brought by the FPPC. Civil actions to remedy violations can also be brought by members of the public and local agencies. And then knowing and willful violations constitute a misdemeanor, which can be prosecuted by the DA or AG. And then loss of reputation and family impacts can also occur from a personal perspective. And then these violations of the PRA do not preclude criminal liability that could potentially apply under other laws, such as bribery, extortion, or embezzlement. And to clarify that, bribery means conferring a benefit on a public official to influence a person's vote, opinion, action, or inaction. And extortion means getting something from someone wrongfully by using one's public position. And embezzlement means converting public funds or property to your own. And the FPPC fines are $5,000 to $10,000 per violation. Violations can also result in invalidation of the commission's decision, and attorney's fees can be recovered by the plaintiff against the person who violated the PRA in a private action to enforce the law against a public official. So it's the individual responsibility of each commissioner to avoid conflicts, but resources are available to help. Resources offered by the FPPC include informal assistance by calling 866-ASK-FPPC, reviewing materials on fppc.ca.gov, or requesting a formal written advice letter. And good faith reliance on a formal written advice letter from FPPC can provide protection from liability for the public official. And then the city attorney, as the city's legal advisor, can also provide a legal opinion on questions regarding potential conflicts of commissioners. But it's a very fact-intensive inquiry. It will depend on the specific facts of the situation to determine whether there is a conflict in a specific set of circumstances. So we encourage you to submit questions in writing to our office as early as possible if you have any question in your mind. Last-minute conflict of interest inquiries will usually result in a conservative advice that the member should announce the conflict and disqualify yourself, because in order to protect the integrity of the city's decision-making process. So one more general kind of common sense tip I would include in regards to thinking about PRA conflicts of interest, the monetary ones, is think about when you are acting as a commissioner, if you're being asked to make a decision as a commissioner, think about, is it possible that my decision, whether I vote yes or no on this project, could have a financial impact on me? Will it affect my wallet potentially by voting yes or no? Do I have an incentive to vote one way or another because of based on my financial interests? If so, you should be, asking our office, asking FPPC in advance. That should raise the red flags. Okay, am I okay here? And reach out as early as possible. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciated the very concise presentation. And if you have any questions or things that, I know that for some of us it's kind of old school, but you can always still learn something. So if you have any questions for him or anything that you'd like to bring up, that, okay. Yeah, I think it is very, very detailed, and I think we'll still go, I don't know if this is the year for the second year, so I think we still have to go through the training, yeah. The Form 700 is going to be also April, and there are fines for not doing that. I think, I hate to say this, but it comes down to the old rule. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So if it seems like it's going to be something, use common sense. We have all the rules, but if it's something that's questionable, don't do it. So in 23 years, I can tell you from exact experience, don't do it. You're better off. And so I had nothing in 23 years, and I never will when I leave this. Don't cut it and someone walk the line, just don't do it. It doesn't mean we don't have a right to have First Amendment, doesn't mean that, but there's some things when you're sitting in this chair, you want to be objective and impartial, and so there are things you have to do, and you have to be very careful of that. We're not saying we're perfect here, and I do as a perfect chairman, because it ain't an easy spot, but sometimes you just have, some of it's common sense. Some of it's common sense. Just there's some things you just refuse to do, especially if it's monitoring. But ask the city attorney's office, go to them, because especially if you talk about, well, I'm within 500,000, just don't do it. That's just my personal opinion. If it's something that's questionable, it's just best not to do it, so you don't have these questions and issues, because you want to be impartial. So I've had to stop a lot of projects right there because I said, don't even look at me, okay? Even though you want to, but you can't do it because you're sitting in this chair. So you have to do that. One of the things, lastly, we do is we try to say at the beginning, we talk about ex parte, we also disclose things like ad hoc committees. And we want to disclose that to let the public know that it's not some secret chamber under the table. But there is an ad hoc committee that does not act as the planning commission, but they look at diagrams, things like that, give ideas, suggestions, but we want to disclose that. So if there's a question about that, we have that. Drive-by site visits, most of us don't go out and talk to people, but drive-by site visits, you look at the site boom, that's not really the issue, but it should be disclosed that you do it. And that's basically what it's saying. So I appreciate it, Benjamin. I know it's a nuance here, and you've got a lot of experience, and it's good to know. And some things that we need to, you hear again. Sometimes you have to hear it several times. Just because you've been 23 doesn't mean you still can't learn something.
Yeah, and Chair Hammond, I believe that that staff maintains radius maps for the 500-foot,
Yeah.
1,000-foot rule.
And then they'll look it up.
We'll look at that for you, and if you have a question, they can tell you if you're within the 500-foot radius or the 1,000. But if it's within 1,500, you should be thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, but
Don't go, it's $4.99, so come on. $4.99 and 50 inches, come on, be reasonable, okay? You're gonna measure it outside, be reasonable, come on, So you will know, okay? No questions at all? We appreciate it. Thank you, sir. It's very informative.
Thank you.
And with that, we move on to item 5A, consent calendar. Oh, sorry.
Item 4A, the minutes.
Consent calendar?
Oh, okay.
Oh, what are you trying to check up on me, Pam? No, it's okay. It's okay. You need more coffee. That's what it is.
I know you got this.
Yeah. She's testing. Consent calendar, Planning Commission minutes for January 15, 2025 meeting. And this is definitely one you will be abstaining from. I don't even have to ask you. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, spelling errors, things like that? Our little instructor here.
I see none.
Okay. Nothing? Okay, wow. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah. With that, we open it up to public comment on the consent calendar. Anyone in the public wishing to comment on this agenda item only, and I'm going to say this throughout the night, on this agenda item only is welcome to come to the dais this time. Seeing none, we close the public comment portion and come to the commissioners for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. You got that, Sophia? Been moved by Commissioner, Lopez. Second, good. Okay.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond,
Yes. Would she technically, she wouldn't be abstaining, just out?
Generally, if you weren't at the meeting,
Or she just knew, so.
right, if you weren't participating or you weren't at the meeting or participating as a commissioner at the meeting, then unless you've kind of reviewed the video and compared to make sure the minutes are correct, it's commonplace for commissioners to abstain because they're not familiar with the meeting proceedings.
He made it easy for you.
Commissioner Menez,
Abstain.
with a vote of 4 and 1 abstain, this motion is approved.
Thank you very much.
We got Commissioner Jimenez and Menes.
Jimenez?
I just caught that.
You just caught it?
Oh, okay. That's gonna be tough. Okay. With that, we move on to item 6, public hearings. Item 6. Yeah. She's gonna have fun. Item 6A, parcel merger, 23-05143, and development plan review, DPR 22-00033. This item is continued from the September 18, 2024 meeting. A proposal to merge 2 contiguous parcels to facilitate development of a 5,926 square foot truck tire shop and an attached 5,920 square foot canopy on .93 acres, located on the southwest corner of Commerce Drive and Johnson Avenue, within the light industrial zone of the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan. Requested action, adopt resolution number 24-16, finding the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, review pursuant to section 15332, infill development projects, and approving parcel merger 23-05143 and development plan review 22-00033 to facilitate the development of a 5,926 square foot truck tire shop and an attached 5,920 square foot metal canopy on .93 acres based on the findings and subject to conditions of approval. As we always do, was there any ex parte communication, ad hoc committee, and or site visits to this?
I had an ad hoc meeting for this project.
I myself had an ad hoc meeting and then site visit.
Conducted a site visit.
Yes, conducted a site visit as well.
And yeah, I've driven by the site each day for work.
Thank you very much. And with that, we have the city presentation.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. And again, congratulations, Commissioner Menez. Welcome to the club. As mentioned, we have before you DPR 22-00033 for the Commerce Drive Truck Tire Shop. Excuse me. A little bit of background. On September 18th of 2024, the project was presented before the Planning Commission. During that meeting, it was voted to continue the item to allow the applicant additional time to address some concerns that were raised at the meeting. Some of those concerns were circulation, access designs of trucks commingling with employee vehicles, revising the path of travel for employees to access the trash enclosure from the establishment so it could meet CBC code, the revision of the color palette for the building, increasing the landscape percentage so it could at least meet the criteria from the PVCC specific plan, excuse me, and providing roll-up doors to the canopy area facing Commerce Drive to shield the tire activities from the public view. The Planning Commission therefore recommended the project be reviewed at the ad hoc committee meeting. So therefore, on January 7th of this year, the ad hoc committee met with the applicant to discuss the project. And some of the recommendations included replacing the horizontal siding tile with stone veneer to complement the color palette, revising the building elevation to feature larger wall-mounted grid elements and the stone veneer cladding at the corner of Commerce and Johnson. Enhance the northern building elevations to include the roll-up doors to screen the tire-related activities from Commerce Drive. Excuse me. Revise the material and color sample board to illustrate the actual proposed color schemes. They'll be consistent with the building rendering. And revise the site path, the path of travel that complied with the California Building Code 2022. And revise the conceptual landscape plan to increase landscape coverage, not only just to meet the 12%, but to increase it to 15%. Just a little more background on the site. The project is located in the northern part of the city, just south of Commerce Drive, west of Johnson Avenue, and east of Lakeview Drive. Some of the surrounding uses are existing office buildings to the north, across the street from Commerce Drive, an existing industrial building across the street from Johnson Avenue, and we have vacant parcels just to the west and to the south. The project site is located in the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan with a land use designation for light industrial. It is also surrounded with light industrial land uses to the north, south, east, and west as well. Here we have before you the previous site plan that was presented back in September of last year with the revised version that's on to the right. Some of the changes, well, I'll go with just describing the site in itself and then going into the changes. We still have the existing 5,920 square foot canopy, as well as the 5,926 square foot building. Trucks on an appointment basis will still be coming in off Commerce with a left in into the driveway and going straight into the canopy to get serviced. If for whatever reason they don't get service and they have to go around, they can do so with plenty of clearance and make a left out on Johnson Avenue. The northern driveway along Johnson Avenue was increased from 13 to 26 feet to allow employee automobiles to make a right in front of the parking lot that's located, well, in the parking lot's located in front of the building as a right in and as a right out now. Previously, the way we had it designed is that we had employee vehicles coming in as a right in and exiting as a right out along Commerce, but that was a big no-no because the commission had concerns with commingling. So therefore, now we've segregated the employee vehicles in the northern area and the trucks coming in on Commerce but exiting out on Johnson. So there is no commingling of employee vehicles or clientele trucks, and as well as meeting the path of travel revision. So there, it's no longer within the crossfade of the trucks. In case they had a back out, they could hurt someone. The truck route for the site is still the same. Trucks can exit the site going north on Johnson, east on Sinclair, north on Redlands, west on Morgan Street, south on Indian Avenue, and west on Placencia Avenue to access the 215 freeway, and vice versa. With respect to the building elevations, very much similar to how we had the site plan presented earlier, excuse me. You have the previous version at the top with the revised version at the bottom. As you can see, the roll-up doors have been included in the canopy area, which screen the tire-related activities from the right-of-way. In addition, the color palette has also been revised, so we no longer have the blues, the reds, and the whites. Yes, Ms. Arvitz, who has the color board, thank you. She is my Vanna White, thank you. And as well as introducing the stone veneer, eliminating the hardy back horizontal siding that we had previously. Here we have the west interior elevation, the south elevation, and this is the east elevation that we'll be seeing along Johnson. Again, larger grid pattern that's wall mounted, as well as the different articulation of the stone veneer being added that gives a better presence, a better visual corner presence of the building from Commerce and from Johnson. And Vice Chairman Shively, the actual colored chips are right behind the color board. Yes, thank you very much. In case you needed to look at, because I know the printout sometimes deviates a little bit from the real color sample. I know that's come up before, so. With the landscape plan, again, previously, I think we had like 11.8%, which was just shy of the 12% that was needed for on-site, but now we have 15% on-site, the drought-tolerant pallet. Still the same pallet, it's just been dispersed more throughout the site. With respect to the development standards, they are all met with including the landscaping and exceeding on the landscaping now. And the parking standards are met at 22 spaces. With respect to the CEQA process, the project is categorically exempt as an infill development project. Excuse me, and therefore, this evening's recommendation from staff is for the Planning Commission to adopt PC Resolution 24-16, categorically exempting parcel merger 23-05143 and DPR 220033 from the Environmental Quality Act as an infill development project, and approving the parcel merger 23-05143 and DPR 220033 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions that the commission may have. We also have the applicant and the applicant representative here this evening. Unfortunately, their architect could not be present due to health reasons, so he apologizes for that. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. And if the applicant would like to make a presentation or say anything, you're welcome to come forward at this time. And just state your full name for us and spell your last name for us.
Charles Norman Pulliam, Pulliam, project manager. Good evening, council. I think Alfredo has pretty well summed everything up. And so if you have any questions that still hang out there, let me know. But we appreciate all your professional help and hope you will give us the sign off today.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So, are there any questions for staff? I have a few things to point out, but staff and or the applicant?
Alfredo, this one is for staff. Can we go to the slide of the south elevation, please?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Jimenez, which slide?
South elevation, please.
South elevation, yes. South elevation, here we go.
Okay, so in the front, it has rolling doors. Is the back, I see on top it was like X'd out because that meant it was open, right? That, where the bay is.
Correct, yes.
And the new one, is this still going to be open in the back?
It will be open in the back. It will be open in the south elevation, and it will be open from the west elevation. It's only, the roll-up doors are only included in the north elevation from Commerce.
Okay.
There will be a 14-foot high wall in the back in the south elevation. So there'll be a portion still being screened from any angled view along Johnson going northbound. And as well as, it's still going to be an interior lot from the west elevation. There's still going to be a wall on that side as well. And hopefully in the future, something will be developed in that corner too that will further screen the interior activity of that canopy. But only the north elevations being screened at this moment.
Okay. How high, I know I saw the fencing around it is gonna be 14 feet
Yeah.
on the south side. I don't remember if it was 14 feet all the way around or around the west side. I just saw fencing.
My apologies, that's an 8-foot high block wall
On the south side?
on the south side. And on the west side,
So it's gonna be 8 foot. Is it what material?
concrete.
Concrete? So 8 feet all the way around. And I saw, can we go to the landscape plan,
Yeah.
please? So on the west side, it's gonna be open. I'm trying to see what the little bushes are right next to it. I can't see what kind of material that is. And I don't want to open my big old plan. Do you see right around the edge on the west side?
On the west side,
There's a little bit of, like a strip of greenery.
a landscape strip.
Yes.
Correct.
What type of landscaping is that? Right here. It looks like, yeah. It's hard to tell with the pictures. I don't want to open the packet.
Okay. The last sheet in the development.
Yeah, I didn't want to open it.
Oh no, it's quite all right. I can.
big.
I have the space. I have the space.
Yeah, I don't have the space. I would hit my fellow
Yeah, no,
commissioners.
it's quite all right. So it'll be a combination of, let's see, Desert Spoon. It would be Coughberry bush and agave bush, agave variation, aloe.
Okay.
Let's see, and we have 36-inch trees.
Mhm.
And we have ground cover, which is the rosemary,
Mhm.
and that's about it.
I like the Texas Ranger that's in the picture here. Yeah. Okay, so they are proposing the trees on the west side and then the two on the south side, right?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
landscape plan that is here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't see, because it's left out for the trucks on the southern exit, right? Sorry, afraid I have you all over the place.
That's all right.
It's left, right? I just want to triple check to make sure.
As trucks exit Johnson,
Yes.
yeah, they will make a left going northbound
Okay.
on Johnson.
On
Correct.
the
They cannot make a right.
illustration, It isn't clear that there's some kind of physical barrier. Yeah, I was like trying to. Yes.
So on condition 5C, what is it? The fifth bullet down, sixth bullet down, it states driveway 2 shall have a southern return reversed. So part of our engineering conditions,
Is
we
that
would
the-
be requiring that to
Okay.
deter that traffic from going south.
Okay.
And then same thing for
The one on top.
the one
for-
on top on
yeah.
Commerce Drive.
Where they have to make a left, and so if they come
Right.
this way, they can't make that turn.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything on Commerce and Johnson preventing them from making that left after making exiting on Johnson going north, is there anything preventing them from making that left onto Commerce? I don't know if there's anything in the roadway.
So
If
I'm
we
trying
could go
to-
to truck route.
I'm trying to follow this. So
Yeah.
take a left onto Johnson to go north, and then to prevent them to
Yeah, because
take
they're
a
supposed
left.
to go right, or continue.
They're
to-
supposed to continue north
Yeah.
to Sinclair, take a right, go north up to either go north
There
up
he goes.
to Harley Knox.
Yes.
Harley Knox is another option too. You could take Redlands all the way up to Harley Knox, but Morgan is, as shown in this screen here, is the primary option. But that's the truck route. But to answer your question, as far as deterring that left turn movement for northbound trucks from Johnson onto Commerce, there would be
Nothing.
no median proposed.
Okay. Or Sinclair, right?
Or Sinclair, right? So it's just strictly at the driveways that we're having the reverse curves.
All right, that's it for me. Thank you.
Perhaps adding signage?
You know how I feel about signs, but it's better than nothing.
And also, maybe we can add the condition that we typically add for warehouses to inform the truck drivers and provide them information so that way they know the truck routes that have been approved for this project.
Go for it.
I think this question is also mostly for staff. I have a concern about the trucks possibly idling and maybe the quantity of them entering and exiting the facility. I was just curious, will we have any restrictions put into place in regards to limiting idling of the trucks? Say the shop is really busy one day, it's on a small plot of land. If we have a lot of different trucks waiting to be serviced, it can get hot, and idling, using their air conditioning. I was just wondering if there's any limitations on that for this project.
So good question. From an engineering perspective, there would be no restriction as far as, backing up onto the roadway itself. It just, they have a few stalls. And just to answer the question about the trucks that this typical project site generates, according to their traffic study, it's 77 total trips per day. So, that's in and out. So that'd be about 38 total trucks. And a lot of it is close. These trucks won't be coming from Long Beach and saying, hey, I want to go all the way out to Paris to go to the Nick's tire shop. It's going to be locally used trucks going to the warehouses to other sites throughout the city. So that's kind of the idea with this project. But as far as, restricting back up onto the roadway, there's no engineering condition for that.
So sorry, you go ahead.
Sorry, I can help a little bit with the idling. So AQMD restricts idling to 5 minutes. We can add a condition to make the applicant aware that there is a restriction for idling to 5 minutes, but that is usually enforced by AQMD.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that answers my question. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Alfredo, do we know what the hours of operation would be?
My apologies. I don't have the hours of operation on this staff report. They were in the previous staff report, but let me ask the applicant.
Perfect, thank you.
$7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Monday through Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
I have none. I have no questions for staff.
Jack, the architect, no questions. Okay. Boy, you okay?
He beat us up at ad hoc. So.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow. I think before I get to my couple of questions for staff, we're not talking about connected rigs. We're talking about detached, whether it's just the front, or we're talking about the whole entire thing from our truck expert here. You might want to come on up then.
Yeah,
Hello, you might want to come up if you, yeah, so we can get you on record.
Usually they come in either to do 1 or 2 tires, or if they do the whole route, it would be the truck and trailer, yes.
Oh, the truck and trailer.
And as far as the idling thing goes, in all of the other establishments that my client has, they have a signage there, no idling over 5 minutes. Signs are posted around there too.
I think in a roundabout way, she might have been talking about if there was queuing. And I don't think you do that much stuff unless you had 10, 15 trucks at a time, which I seriously would doubt, but I don't know. If there was queuing, then they would. Commerce Street is, as you know, is unbelievably packed with cars. Several times been over there. I mean, there's a lot of cars. If you haven't been over there, go over tomorrow. Cars are parked, whatever that thing is to the north, I have no idea, but they're stacked on that street. So anything idling back there is going to be an issue. But again, I don't know the business, so maybe 1 or 2 trucks at a time, and they're not going to have 15, 20, like I see in Moreno Valley, they're stacked up on the street, 15, 20.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. So that. I think that might be the concern. Yeah.
And is it usually appointments or what kind of
It's
clientele do you get?
It's by appointments,
Okay.
but there is drop-in.
Okay, so you are open for drop-ins, but most of it is
right.
usually
Right.
encouraged to have an appointment.
Usually they call ahead and make an appointment for it.
Okay.
Okay. And when you have appointments, you usually book, so there's, I think, how many? 4 doors? So do you usually schedule like 4 and have 4 outside waiting to come in, or what is the scheduling usually
No,
like?
usually schedule them where there's, estimate the time for the service and then space them out so that they aren't waiting out there.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. This is for staff. It won't be excruciating tonight. Some maybe possible corrections, and you can correct me if I'm wrong too, but I'm very detailed. COA number 6. Look at condition of approval number 6. This is not engineering, this is staff. We're talking about approved by the Planning Commission on September 18th. I think you mean tonight. COA condition number 6. Am I wrong? The original was supposed to be the 18th, but we're talking about February the 5th, right?
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. I'm not patting myself. I just happened to see it. There's no Yes. The other thing, number 46, condition, I think it's number 46 under the fire. And I think it's 46 where the sentence kind of cuts off. And where am I? The city of Paris approval shall be obtained prior to any. So 46 in. I would assume permit or sign off or certificate or whatever the fire department does. So 46 in. And this is the third one I think I've seen. That's the only reason I keep seeing it.
Oh, okay. We can go back to the fire department's memo and
Yeah.
add that.
I'll let you go to
language.
them. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I would have to say that City of Paris approval shall be obtained prior to any building permit for
Okay, building
fire.
permit, okay. I know I'm being nitpicky, I know. Like I don't do that all the time, right? One question, I think, too. For the employee amenity area is listed on the plans. Is there a covering over that, or is there just going to be like umbrella tables? How is that going to be? How is that? Because I didn't catch that part. So there's a right outside the office. There's an employee seating area or something, and you can. You see the checkers there, right? Right by the 5926 building at the northwest side. Is they just sitting in the open, or they're sitting with?
It was just some benches,
Okay.
patio.
Patio with some covering. Remember, it gets 110 degrees in summer, guys. So some kind of something over the top of them.
There's a shade structure.
Shade structure. Okay. God, that guy's being picky tonight, isn't he? I'm thinking of employees. I'm just thinking of employees. Other than that, I think the ultimate color is it blue or is it gray? I'm just getting a clarification because I looked at it. I know men, colorblind, all this stuff. But is it gray or is it blue tint, or what is the color of the building, the windows? We passed it around, but I'm assuming it's gray. It's gray. Oh, okay.
It's gray.
Okay. 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 I'm good.
Can I jump in? Yeah. For driveway number 1 on Johnson, we're doing right out only, right? But we didn't do any return, right? Because it says driveway 1
Yeah, it's this one.
shall allow for left in, right out movements. It doesn't say it's a left out from driveway 1.
Yeah, so this is for the auto driveway,
Yeah.
right? So, correct, it would be right in, right out, left in, allowed only. So, just being so close to the intersection of
Yeah.
commerce,
Okay.
we would want to restrict that left out movement just to avoid any, conflicts of traffic there.
Yeah, but we're not doing any physical restrictions, right? So somebody could potentially still make that left.
Potentially, we would put up a sign that says right turn only, and at that point,
Would it be able to add just like a little strip on the floor? I think we did that on one of the warehouses up north, where it's not like a full pork chop because it's still a left in, but some kind of just like guide so that it's channeled.
to channel them to
Yeah.
go to the right. That's something we could consider. I mean, again, at that point, it only deters it for a passenger vehicle, especially. It only deters it so much. So
Yeah, it's not as much as for a
right. So
big rig.
I mean, that's something we could consider to add. It's nothing wrong, but at the same point, a sign and striping would probably
Do the same purpose.
same purpose for
Okay.
passenger vehicles.
Well, whatever engineering things would help. I just want to encourage that as much as possible because I know that corner very well and
Right.
it can be dangerous.
Right, and that's why we restricted that left out, just because of how close it is to that intersection.
And I think most of them are going to be employees, right? So I think,
I would imagine, yeah.
because if you're getting your truck service, you're probably going to show up in your truck. Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry, so do we want to add signage?
There would
Yeah.
be signage.
There will be signage, but I'd like even white stripping, something, whatever our engineering department thinks would be helpful.
We could look into it at the time of plan check and,
Yeah.
add what
Because
is
a small car,
appropriate for
even if you're
this.
going that way, you can make a quick
Right,
U-turn.
right.
So,
We understand. We'll look into it.
okay, thanks.
Alfred, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
That I just discovered. Previous plan had four trash or waste receptacles in the trash enclosure. It now has 3
Yes.
different requirements for those.
Was there different requirements for those?
Requirements now that there's only 3 bins instead of 4?
No, the applicant wanted to just have 4, but 3 should still work. They made it shorter because of the way we were going to stack the parking and for the path of travel. I recall that was the explanation that the architect had provided me on that.
Next question is, I anticipate there's no storage on the exterior of the building for waste tires,
No,
all stored
yeah.
under
All
the canopy.
tires will be stored inside.
Under the canopy or another location on
In,
site.
in the canopy or inside the building.
This would be interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Last observation too, and I think you guys were ad hoc, but it's probably an easy answer. From the auto to the truck area, is there going to be anything to stop the autos from going into the truck area? In other words, you see the red lines, the dots that go around,
Correct.
and they're coming in from there, but is there a gate or fence there to stop them from going into the truck area, or is that open?
No, fire didn't want to put any type of gate or any type of obstruction
Okay.
in order to allow the flow. Again, we could just put signage, no
Okay.
autos allowed past this point or
Okay.
something to the nature.
'Cause you know how we are in Paris, right?
Of course.
Yeah, because I'm a resident of Paris. There's no sign here. Okay,
They said no gates, but did we think about those little, I forget what they're called. The ones that over here on Ramona by the Carl's Jr., the ones that are like pretty removable. Yes. Did we offer that as an option?
Nah, after the consultant said that he didn't want any obstructions, we just left it at that.
Hmm. Okay.
okay. We're good. Okay. And with that, you don't have any questions? I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut anybody off. Okay. With that, we go to public comment. Well, we're still going to do public comment. If any member of the public would like to comment on this agenda item and this item only, is welcome to come to the dais now. Dais. Whatever you call it. Seeing none, we close the public comment portion and move it, public hearing, and move it back to the commission for discussion, whatever you would like to do, if it's any further questions, but discussion, analysis.
Thank you, Alfredo, for the presentation. And I just want to thank the applicant for your patience and willingness to work with us. You definitely listened to us after the September meeting. I saw the project again during ad hoc, and I saw all the changes that you made since that meeting. And during ad hoc, there was a few things that we needed to tweak, but you're very open to our suggestions, and we saw them here tonight. So I just want to thank you for that, and I have no other issues with this project. You were able to iron out all the issues that we had. Thank you.
I know I'm coming into this halfway through. I wasn't at the first meeting, but I did see a lot of the changes that you made between now and then. Especially, I can really appreciate not just meeting the vegetation requirements, the landscape requirements, but going above that. That was really great to see. And I just want to thank you for your time.
I want to thank you for your time at the ad hoc meeting. Appreciate it that you guys came out and spent some time. Appreciate that you accepted my badgering and coercion of arm twisting to get some stuff done. But I think between our discussions that we had, I think, and I hope you feel the same way, that your building looks much better than what it did when at the ad hoc meeting. In all these steps and the time you spent since September to get to this process is very, very well warranted, and I think it's an improvement. So I
All of your help.
Okay, okay. Well, we're
Thank
going to
you.
get it on record. Okay.
I appreciate that. But I think it's going to be well suited for the area, and I think the colors are still the gray palette, but it is what it is on that. So overall the building looks fine.
I also saw a lot of improvement. I also appreciate the increase in vegetation. That will make a difference. I am a little bit concerned about the height of the fence, but because it's kind of landlocked on this side, we wouldn't be able to see from the south side looking north, and then same thing with the west side. I'm okay being patient until those come in because there is that barrier and vegetation there. My issues with it are not with the developer or the development. It's more just with the community, the traffic flow, the impact, big rigs taking turns they shouldn't. Because I could see them going, taking Commerce down, taking Ryder up to Paris to Ramona. Like I could see 1,000 million shortcuts that they'll take. All we can do is signage. So my issues with the development are not anything to do with the development, the location, mostly to do with what's going to happen outside and the impact it would have. But most of that is people, right? It's not anything that we can fully control. I really appreciate the color palette, the roll-up doors. I'm, like you said, I'm over there a lot and I see cars parked up and down. So it's bad, really bad. I'm hoping that the parking stalls inside are enough for your employees because they will not find parking anywhere near the location. I don't know what's going on over there either, but there's always cars on the road, parked. So I don't know what's happening. So no issues with the development. Really appreciate the color palette. I know a few of the buildings over there are taking from the ones that are there and kind of adopting the gray. So every now and then when you see it's supposed to be some kind of mauve color, but it's very pinkish orange. Those are starting to you don't see them as much. So it's really taking on a really nice look with these color buildings. I think it would be a beautiful corner accent to drive by and see. I like how you did the office on the side where the corner is so that it really is appealing to the eye. And landscaping is beautiful. I like the color variations, elevations. You have the covering, you have shrubs, you have trees. I think that will really, see, and when I think gray, I think nature is what pops out. Building shouldn't be the one that pops out. Nature should be the one that attracts our eye. So thank you for meeting with the ad hoc, going above and beyond, and really taking what we said very serious. Thank you.
Thank you, and I won't prolong the agony. I agree with everything was said, and it's sufficient to say that working with our ad hoc, and I think I mentioned that before, it would be good to work with them so they can iron out things that you don't have to drag out here. That's one of the reasons why we do that. And so we appreciate staff and that. I'm going to do something that's still in a priority order in the sense that if you had any further statements that you'd like to make, I can always reopen the public hearing or public comment portion if you'd like statements. It's up to you. If you don't, you can take it as is. So I leave it to you. Okay. Okay. And so with that, I will go through. My statement is that I appreciate the colors, the color scheme. One of the reasons to project to the south is there will probably be buildings. There's another development to the south of there, so anything there would not make sense because obviously if you have another building there, it's going to obstruct any views. So really not much of an issue there. It's just the east and west become issues. But it's got I think an 8-foot wall is talked about on the west side, and that would be important. But we just want a consistency of view in that whole area, so that's why we're pushing the color scheme. Now, we have a stone veneer fanaticism up here. So if it's just flat, it's probably never going to get through here. But we like to enhance architectural design. We've raised the standard in the city on every building. Just ask any developer. So the idea of stone veneer and things like that just gives an attraction. And uplighting was mentioned. Usually I miss that, but uplighting is there as well. So we appreciate that. And I appreciate working with the ad hoc committee too. I think that's it for me. I just say the concern is going to be Commerce Street because anything stopping on Commerce Street, and they're going to take a left in there, it could be a traffic jam. So if there's not a lot of truck traffic there, it can work. But I can tell you that street, I don't know what it is about that factory or company on the north, but they all park on the street, right in that spot. And there's no restrictions or anything. We're not going to cite them. So there's no restrictions over there. So that's why it's important to have those blocks or channels to divert them into there. And they're coming in, not going out Commerce. That would really be a nightmare. But the fact that they're turning in there is one thing, and we have designed the truck routes, and unfortunately, you have to do the channels to keep them from turning right, because Ryder is tempting. It's so tempting. When they're going down Ryder. I'm just telling you right now, they're going to go down Ryder. But at least with that, we do our part. You put the signage and you require them to do it. That's all you can do. Okay. With that, let me read this and we can make a motion and whatever amendments. I will go through amendments, and I'm not necessarily the best writer, but we'll see. The idea is that the parcel merger 23-05143 and development plan review 22-00033, which was continued from September 18, 2024 meeting. And this is a proposal to merge two contiguous parcels to facilitate development of a 5,926 square foot truck tire shop and an attached 5,920 square foot canopy on .93 acres, located in the southwest corner of Commerce Drive and Johnson Avenue within the light industrial zone of the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan. And the requested action is to adopt resolution 24 there's legal reasons for reasoning. I'm not just doing this for fun. 24-16, finding the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act review pursuant to section 15332 infill development projects, and approving parcel merger 23-05143 and development plan review 22-00033 to facilitate development of a 5,926 square foot truck tire shop and an attached 5,920 square foot metal canopy on .93 acres based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval and amendments as so indicated. Some of the changes were condition of approval number 26, changing it from September 24th to today, February 5th, 2025. Also, and then condition approval number 46 in the complete sentence to include, and if I'm wrong, let me know, approval by building permit. So language to the effect that would establish the word building permit. Also, within the site, one of the suggestions, I don't know if I would add that as a condition of approval, but informing truck drivers of truck routes within the facility, which would be standard language on all of the things that we've done in the past. The truck routes, the direction to go, so they know up front, if you turn left, this is the direction to go, so there can be informed. We can't help what the enforcement is, but at least we can inform them with signs posted or whatever other things that could be done by whoever operates that. So they would inform them left turn, they would turn right turn, give them basically the truck routes. Also, the signs and stripping on one, I think that was the number one, the one to the northeast corner. There would be some working out administratively, signs or striping saying that they would turn to go out of the facility to go right. So right out from that facility for auto passenger vehicles and not to turn left. In other words, the signing or some striping, we'll leave that to the engineering and we'll leave that to work out administratively. But I don't know if you want that. That could be a condition of approval, but that would be under engineering. So I'll leave that to you. I think...
Chair Hammond, I think those should be conditions of approval
Okay.
if you want them to be enforceable.
Okay, I just don't know what number, so we could just add the number if it's not already, yeah.
So that's two different ones you mentioned. One is for the truck route notification to drivers on
Yeah.
site of the truck routes that we showed tonight, and that would be to the satisfaction of the planning manager.
Yeah.
And then the other is
The left out striping within the,
signage and striping, and that's on site
Yeah.
for the no left out for autos
right,
on the Johnson driveway, the northern
Right.
Johnson driveway. So again, to the satisfaction of
Yeah.
the city engineer.
So the way the condition for engineering reads right now states for driveway one shall allow for left in, right out movements only. So if there's anything that, you guys feel should be added to that.
well,
but
just to
again-
be the striping she was talking about, or signage
right,
to the
and-
effect,
and-
adding to that.
And the way that it's written right now,
Yeah.
with our plan check, we would ensure that with striping and
Okay,
signing.
okay,
So we would add that language to that condition. That is that
Yeah.
second bullet point under 5C.
I don't think it's necessary to add.
You don't think so? Because I like how it says for driveway through two shall have the southern return. Shall be reversed. I mean, we need to edit that, but you don't think it would be necessary to also add some kind of striping or?
I think it's
Guidance.
kind of given with how it's read right now, right in, right out, left in. We would put up signing and striping to eliminate that left out. It's
Okay.
kind of a given with it.
Okay.
It's up to you. Okay. So, okay, we just want to ensure that we know that they're supposed to turn, but we were just kind of, what's the word? Putting it in writing to the effect that they would make sure that that physically thing, we're not going to put a barrier like a channel or a pork chop, but saying that they would turn out. Mm-hmm.
If the request is to add the signing and striping comment to it, we could do that.
Yeah, that's what we mean, yeah.
Or I think the main intent was working with, just to make sure that they work with you, and we had in writing that they were gonna work with you all to ensure that there was something, because we're gonna look at different options, right? It could be a channelizer, it could be striping, it could be,
Right, and that would get factored into the plan check
Okay.
phase of this project. So the way it reads right now, it's been done like this forever.
Yeah.
Where, left in, right out, we would factor that into the plan check. So it's kind of a given with it, with the signing and striping. But if the request is to add the specific language for that, we could do so if need be.
Yeah.
I think we should, because all
Yeah.
future ones too, that way we can add it too, just to make sure that they do work with you, because I could say I'm gonna do it and not, unless it's in writing,
it's-
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I know the developers are
Oh, yeah,
willing
yeah,
to go above and beyond, we just wanna.
And if the concern is that the language could potentially lock you in with something too specific, you could say something like signage, striping, or other measures to the satisfaction of the city engineer.
It gives you the power, Brad, okay.
He has the power.
I know.
He's like, I got it.
He's chopping at the bits. Huh? Okay, so Patricia, I think you kind of, well, even more so, Sylvia, kind of got the gist of where we were going there. I tried. Okay.
And I would also add Commissioner Menez comment about adding that condition under operational conditions for idling shall be limited to 5 minutes. And I know it's something AQMD would enforce, but it doesn't hurt to have it as a condition of approval.
Okay. Where would you put?
Drivers of the AQMD restriction as opposed to making our own restriction. I think you should say like they're required to notify the drivers of the AQMD restriction.
Oh, that's a good point. That the applicant shall be required to notify the drivers of the AQMD restriction limiting idling to 5 minutes.
Okay. 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 I couldn't think of anything else. I think that was it. Okay. Okay.
All right. Mr. Chair, did you also mention the revision to condition number 6 to change the date? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So it's on the table that the requested action is to adopt, well, I don't want to read the whole thing, but adoption, Resolution 2416, in favor of the project as a parcel merger and development plan review for this development. So we need a motion to the effect.
I'll make a motion with the added conditions.
The motion by Commissioner Isaac first, and second, wait a second,
I'll second.
and second by Commissioner Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Menez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes. I did not push the button. Try it again.
Can we do it again, please?
Okay.
Commissioner Jimenez, Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Menez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes. There we go. Yeah, I did.
With a 5 yes and 0 no, this motion is approved.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sylvia. And thank you, gentlemen. Okay. 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 The business item we moved earlier up to at the beginning, so we're coming to item 8. Actually, item 8. We're coming to the public comment. Got reversed out of order, got me out of order. To public comment on any item who wishes to address the planning commission regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. And if anyone wishing to address the commission can come up to the podium and wait for the chairperson to recognize you. So this is on any item not on the agenda. You're welcome to come up to the podium and address it at this time. I don't think Alfredo's gonna do now. No. You look like you were edging up there. Okay. Okay, we close the public comment portion and move to the commission. Commission members' announcements or reports.
Just want to start off by thanking Benjamin for your presentation earlier. Very informative. I also wanted to congratulate Commissioner Menez on your appointment. We're very lucky to have you. You're proving yourself to be an advocate for the community. And I'm excited to see what ideas you bring to the commission and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Jack, second.
She's waiting for, she must have something very important to state. Commissioner Jimenez, welcome to the podium. I always look for your insight as you did your presentations out there. I'm sure you'll do your presentations out here and be a welcome asset to the Planning Commission moving forward. As always, if you have any questions, you feel free to ask me. I'm here to act as a mentor and a guidance for you. It's F here being right next to you, so welcome. Thank you.
I also want to echo what my fellow commissioner staff said. Welcome, congratulations. We always look forward to very detailed, insightful feedback when you were in the public. So now we welcome that same effort here in research that you have shown to dedicate for the improvement of our city. So look forward to working with you. Congratulations. And on mine, we don't have a lot to report. There haven't been a lot of like city things that I've attended or kind of easing into the new year. I'm still not used to being 2025. I think I'm getting there, but not yet.
Yes, and definitely welcome. I know it can be nerve-wracking to begin with, but you'll get on board. If you learn from Jack, you might have a problem, though. But no, he's great. Yeah, I know. Don't listen to me. I'm bad. I'm very bad. Sylvia is also a great person to get to know, and she will help you tremendously. You give me the check later, okay? No. But we have a great staff. We have a wonderful staff, as you'll find out if you haven't already. They're very, very, very detailed. They're very helpful. They're very personable. And that's, I don't say that about too many, but they're very personable. And includes you, Brad, too. But very personable, and we appreciate it. And people that give us the sound of the sitting and listening. She's looking at me now, giving me that look. She's a great singer, too, if you didn't hear. Let me quickly go over what happened last week. I was going like crazy last week, okay? We had the opening, well, actually the groundbreaking of the Fossville Park. I can tell you, it was cold. Again, you went with me. I can tell you, you've never seen anything like this. There's no parking like this going to be in Paris. If you go online, there's about 15 different things. Sand volleyball court. That's just one of them. Then pickleball and basketball. And then they have a basketball court. Then they have other things there that you're just going to have to find out. Skate park, too, which is going to be 9,000 people at that skate park. But they're all in this one thing. So they spent some money, and they really got some community input on this one. But this is not a Mickey Mouse thing. I don't even have anything like that. I hate to say it, in Menifee. Okay, so this is something that's Paris. It's unique. It's right downtown. You still have the gym. You still have that area. And so they're at about a year to complete, about a year. So, which is pretty good. So that means they're not just throwing this up. This only equal to this would be the Enchanted Hills. And this is probably better. And that says a lot. Because they had 1,000 people at that opening. You might have about 10,000 at this one. This is Master Park to the maximum, guys, I'm here to tell you. Even have football or futsal where they have foot soccer on a court in addition to everything else. So you'll be going crazy at this place. But, you know, it's something that's going to be a champion thing. It's like a 31st park, I think, the councilwoman was telling me. I said 30, 31? Yeah. City of 81,000 has 30-some parks. So, you know, we have to clap ourselves in the back. We got this grant. We had Mr. Cano here. And we didn't have a check this time. He gave us the check before. But they show up and they said, yeah, we look at Paris. Somebody's a good grant writer, or somebody, whoever does it, is a great grant writer, because we're getting all these. So that was, the next day was the Early Childhood Center. I think it's a classroom that they remodeled over there next to code enforcement. I'll leave that alone. But one side's code enforcement and the kids on the other side, so we'll write them tickets, right? So the poor kids had no chance. But all pictures of parents, all pictures of kids, and I was able to stand there with that, and we squeezed in the room. I wanted to play this, say you're too old, okay? But really get away from it. But you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, fantastic, beautiful design, and that was there as well. So 2 days in a row. And I told them, is there a third one? They said, we'll find something for you. Okay. So, but that is one of the great things. And Friday, I must give hats off to Brad. I did a drop by to the engineering office unannounced. They wouldn't let me in. They said they had to show ID. So, and even then, I had to beg for mercy. Oh, okay. You know my picture, you know who I am? No. But anyway, great tour, quick tour. He had a meeting there. It's a beautiful, if you get a chance, just walk over there. They might let you in. You have to pay them, though. But it was great. I appreciate the attitude. The people there are wonderful. So, I mean, that's like 3 days in a row, guys. So it was wonderful. Go over there, take a look at it. Habib wasn't there. He never left. Okay. I miss John, but he has this big office with 2 computer screens and all that. Fancy. But it's really nice, guys. So if you haven't been in there, just walk over there. They'll give you a brief tour, and you'll see it. And it's wonderful. I had quite a week. Yeah, so after back, this week is different. That was crazy week, okay? But all these good things happening in Paris. And so it's really great to see. It's really positive to see. And we're just moving on, and getting more. So I'm just waiting for the next thing to come up, you know. Remote Expressway, I think you got Starbucks coming up, and then you have the Sonic. And so they're moving pretty fast over there, too. Enough said. But I just had to mention the great things we went through in just last week, and then they'll eventually be opening that skills center pretty soon as well. So just keep talking it up, Paris. Okay? And with that, we move on to our, how do you follow that, right? Planning manager reports and our information. Ms. Patricia Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Commissioner Menez. Like you said, Commissioner Jimenez, we're easing you into 2025. Don't get used to it. For the next meeting on the 19th, we have 4 items. We're bringing for you to 4 items to consider. We have Jack in the Box. It's a replacement of the existing Jack in the Box with a new Jack in the Box on 4th Street. We also have a gas station expansion, the Chevron gas station over on Ramon Expressway and Webster. We have a 58,000 warehouse on Harley Knox. And we have a business park on Paris Boulevard and Harley Knox. And that's about all the items we have. And I don't have any additional information to report at this time. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And without nothing else to be added, I'm assuming. Thank you, Sylvia. And we have a guest interpreter that was in there. And to all those involved in the audiovisual or IT people, we say thank you. And we should have her sing. I mean, she really, I'm telling you, it was a profession. If you weren't there, it's like, I'm ready to sign you up. I mean, that's how good. It was beyond good, guys. I'm not kidding you. She sang and she wilded and I said, what? And nobody wanted to do anything after that. I said, you know, is she professional? What are they getting paid? That was Whitney Houston or something? That good. And just ask the mayor, he'll tell you. But she is really good and taking pictures. And so it was really good. Hats off to you. And with that, it's time for adjournment. And with our adjournment, thank you, audience. Thank you, those that are watching. And until next time, you can pretty much put anyone there because all five of us would be in favor of adjournment, right? Yes. So you want to say move? You want to say move? Second, just name it. Thank you very much. Good night.